Publishing to publish their book. Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront. No hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
No big deal if we can't. Don't worry about it.
You're listening to JoCo Community Radio.
Is what we want to hear.
Hey guys. For sure. Good morning, Jobfather Nation. NTX Radio is a radio and podcast collective, proudly serving all of North Texas and can be heard all over the world on TuneIn Radio and on the NTX Radio app. Now, you can listen on Android, Apple CarPlay, or just ask Alexa to play NTX Radio. Check out our lineup and more at ntxradio.com. We thank our valued partners in helping us amplify the voices of North Texas, and we thank Tiffany Hurd for collaborating with us on this wonderful show, The Jobfather. Before we get started, Foster, how about we bow our head for a quick word of prayer?
Okay, I'm with that.
Woohoo! Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the privilege to be here and to help support and encourage the job seeker community, open phenomenal doors of opportunity for all job seekers and transitioners. And we just ask, Lord God, that they wouldn't miss out on this time of building fruit and growing in your kingdom. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Well, Foster, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about today's show. We've got some really good topics. But I'm sure you
all the time.
That's right. And I'm sure you probably have some updates, dad jokes, any job announcements, etc. And by the way, we all love Mez. Mez is in the background. We couldn't do it without her.
Couldn't do it without Mez. You guys see Mez. Sometimes she comes on with us.
Sometimes she graces us with her presence.
Awesome. Okay, guys, you know what? Welcome to the Jobfather, and we're here to let you guys know what you need to be doing, you job seekers and companies need to be doing when you're looking for people to hire, when you job seekers are looking for companies to hire you. We are here to do that. We got a whole bunch of recruiters today, and I'm excited because we have, and we're going to start with Elizabeth Lyons after my dad joke. So, Elizabeth, you're going to have to grade my dad joke. So I thought this was cute. Okay. So guys, what do you get when you cross an insomniac, an agnostic, and a dyslexic? Oh my God.
Oh, that's too many.
It's too
null and void.
So think about that. Think about that setup, guys. So you end up with someone who stays up all night wondering if there is a dog.
Oh my gosh, that's actually pretty funny.
See, you got to think about that. Is pretty good.
I got to think about that.
That's funny.
You ruminate on that one for a while. I'm sure you're not the only one. I'm sure a lot of people are. So, guys, I want to say hey to Ray Gilliam and Jim Williams and many other people who are listening to us. Kelly Camp, if you're out there, hey. And you know what? Lexi, if you're out there, hey, you and Kim Jones,
Lexi.
Hey, y'all. We say y'all. We're in Texas. We say y'all.
That's right.
So,
y'all.
Guys, I want you guys to meet, and a lot of you guys already know Elizabeth Lyons. You know that name. Elizabeth has been a we recruiters are called talent acquisition executives. So we're special, now. And we got a big name. And so Elizabeth is the founder of Lionsology, and you guys might want to look that up. You
Ooh.
definitely want to go to Elizabeth's website, her LinkedIn profile, and check her out. But Elizabeth has been serving and speaking in this network for years. Oh my God, I've known Elizabeth probably
Like
15 of those years.
15?
It's
Yeah.
I
amazing.
know.
Amazing.
And I want to shout out to Steve, Elizabeth's husband, because that's my buddy. And Steve is way cool, y'all. Anyway, uh,
Awesome.
that's Elizabeth. We're going to be talking about a little bit of AI. You know what I want you guys to understand. I think job seekers, if you guys understand what we recruiters are up to and what our job, what our world looks like, it'll help you understand how to deal with us a lot better. So we're going to start off with Elizabeth, and Elizabeth is going to tell us a little bit about. We hear all this stuff about AI, EIOIU, all of this stuff, and
Oh my word, you're so funny.
those of us
AIAIOU.
AIOU. And even Debra, who we can't see on the screen yet, we're working on that. Debra Johnson is with us. She's a recruiter as well. She's been around for a while, and Debra has a absolutely wonderful personality. So I had to get her on the show with us.
Yes. So
And
excited you're here, Debra.
yeah, honestly. So
Thank
we're going to be
you.
talking as Elizabeth gets started. It's gonna get us going, and it's gonna get our thoughts a flowing. So
Mm.
Elizabeth, tell us what is this AI stuff? Do we recruiters use AI to find people?
Good topic.
All of
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
that's a great question. So in the fall and into the beginning part of the spring, I took literally 15 to 20 hours conservatively of AI classes at a high level. So AI, machine learning, algorithms, and ethics. And I went through lots of those classes. For this talk, we won't get too granular. So I think there's two questions, right? So one is like, are they using machine learning to find you or AI to find you? What I can tell you is in LinkedIn Recruiter, in that particular license, if you have a seat and you're a recruiter, they are using it. I actually did a certification through LinkedIn on that. And it didn't take me very long to figure out that they actually do have machine learning in there, because it would say, hey, if you like John, check out, Sally and Doug and all these others. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's like Amazon. Like, hey, if you like the black top, then do you like the white, the purple, and the green?
Exactly.
So,
and that's actually AI that does that.
Yeah.
So hang on, I do want to correct everybody so you know what you're reading and what you're consuming and what you're understanding. AI is a blanket term for artificial intelligence.
Yes.
AI is different. Like that's the blanket. It's like saying Christian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Or religious. Right.
Okay. Right.
So then when you get into within the umbrella of AI, we're really talking about machine learning, which is automatic learning. You program it a little bit, but then it takes off and it does predictive learning and goes from there, which is kind of what we're all afraid of. Due to it, when you talk about employment, you're concerned around that due to discrimination and the laws that we have in place. We don't want the computer thinking and telling us all these candidates are good, because you could have a discrimination issue. But what you typically see in most companies now is some form of automation. Right. So now we're getting into processes, right? And so you are seeing those in HR. You are seeing those in recruiting somewhat. Here's where you're really going to see it in 2025 is chatbots. And that is absolutely a part of AI.
Oh, yeah.
So like I go to fill out a job application, this thing pops up and goes, hey, I see you're looking for these roles. Is there anything else I can help you with? Those kinds of chatbots. Banking is really taking off with that right now, banking and financial as well. Yeah. Very, very interactive, detailed, not like this robotic thing we have now, but very detailed, like, hey, can you check my 401k balance? Great. Can you tell me what are the contributions for the 401k this year? Can you tell me, like, and it'll have like whole like conversations with you back and forth.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's where we're going in terms of that. So I think the one thing I do want to cover is most of the ATSs and companies are running Workday. And in Workday right now, there is not a forced AI, a forced kind of issue there. So when we get up in the morning and we log in, it's not like Workday comes to me and says, hi, Elizabeth, I see you're working on this rec. Here are 10 candidates you might want to call. That's not what happens due to the discrimination laws and the controls that are in place now. Now, will it get better and would it change? It could, but I can tell you right now, there's this myth running around Dallas that these robots are preventing you from getting a call or stopping your progress in the job search. It's not happening. It's just not happening. So when we talk about AI within recruiting, we want to be careful in the questions. Are we talking about a recruiter going heads down and searching and looking for your skill set because it's very unusual or hard to find? Or are we talking about just you've applied to an ad and it's dumped in an ATS? That capability is not in the ATS systems right now due to the laws.
I really appreciate, so when Foster shared with me that this show, we were going to focus on AI, I have to say I was really excited about this, and your background and your understanding is just great for our listeners. A lot of our listeners don't have a lot of exposure to AI, so I'm glad you kind of broke it down, artificial intelligence. And one thing I was speaking to Foster about, just to kind of build a foundation, two things. And you probably see this. A lot of people, maybe that are getting close to halfway through their career or a little over that halfway mark or further, get a little nervous because there's rumor that AI would replace humans and people could lose jobs. And I want to kind of dispel that myth to a certain extent. AI is only as good as how we apply it as humans, and AI is there to help us do our job faster and more productively and more accurately. It also is great in your personal life because it could save you countless hours of Googling and looking things up. It basically scrapes the internet, anything you need help with, and you put into, for example, different AI platforms like ChatGPT. It allows you to scrape the internet and get results within 30 seconds that would normally take you hours to put together doing your own searches. So keep in mind, whether it's a software platform using AI or you're using it for different aspects. I use it all the time in my job. Like if I'm sending emails and I want to articulate it a certain way, or if I need to look up the newest compliance laws for this particular state related to the recruitment we're doing at this type of practice, what do they have to have in order to work in the state of Maryland or Washington, D.C. or California? They're all different, right? And so it saves me countless amount of time going through all these websites and reading, oh, okay, surgical assistants must have this state license or this certification or this or that. Things change all the time. I use it to help keep me abreast of the most recent legal and compliance things I need in my role as part of the HR team. It's not going to take my place, but it helps me do my job and saves me so much time. And so platforms like Workday and a lot of other applicant tracking systems, when you hear the word ATS, that's what it is. They have implemented pieces of AI within, like we just discussed, within compliant restraints, right? There's still laws and compliance around that, just to help the platform do more for you faster and to make suggestions. Just like when you go on Amazon, that's AI researching your search history, making recommendations to you, that type of thing. So keep in mind that we're not anywhere near, to my opinion, and I would like to get y'all's opinion on this, at a place where we should be fearing AI to take the majority of our jobs. It's really more of a resource to help us do more in less time with more accuracy and consistency. What are y'all's thoughts?
Yeah, well, Elizabeth, what do you think about that?
Yeah, let me jump in here because first of all, I love the glasses half full, because that's really the problem is people are so afraid and they don't learn it, and it's just like really ostrich sticking their heads in the sand. They don't want to know anything about it. I'm going to say this delicately. You're actually incorrect, because I've talked with a lot of very high level data and analytics people and other companies. It's closer than you think. I'll be respectful there. You're incorrect to say we don't need to. No, it's going on. It's being implemented. It's happening. Companies are not disclosing across the board in all the industries. What you can't see, you don't know, and obviously you can't fight. What I would say is, what a better truthful statement would be your job will change. How that looks, we don't know. And yes, some jobs will be eliminated. And
but that's probably going to be more in the technical space. This isn't for everyone, right? And so people don't need to be afraid on every single industry front. It's going to enhance before it's going to potentially do other things. But the industries that will be impacted the quickest are industries where, for example, software developers, they may not be as needed because AI can now do a lot of the software development, right? So there's going to be certain fields that'll be a little bit more impacted before other fields.
I gotta jump in on this. Oh my goodness. So guys, here's what we want to do. We want to ride with it, see where it's going to end up. We can guess all day long as to what's going to happen.
I know.
Let's keep riding in the car and seeing what we're dealing with. But here's what's key. You guys have to remember that AI is a tool. How we use that tool is what's important. As we see things popping up, I see this problem over here. Well, you know what? We can address that problem. So this is a new arena that we're going into, even though it's been around forever. But guys, we have to make sure we're using that tool in the right direction. Now, if it's explaining what Foster's doing, I'm going to reread. I'm going to see what it's saying about Foster, and I'm going to correct what is probably not what I wanted to say. That's 100,000-foot view, but that's my view.
No.
Sorry.
And I appreciate the input because I'm not by any means an expert, and I've heard so many different things back and forth. It couldn't, it could be sooner, it could be later. I've heard so many different things, but I agree with Foster, and I love and it's okay to disagree. And because if you're really focused in this field, you're going to be hearing a lot more than I will at the time. But I will say this, we can't avoid it. So we need to learn how to embrace it and utilize it, right? And I was telling Foster before the show, before I even realized that this was going to be our topic, I am taking a 29 or 30-day challenge. It's I don't know, $15.99. And it's through this platform that takes you through about 15 or 20 different AI platforms and teaches you the fundamentals. And so that's something I'm doing in my spare time. And y'all might have some other suggestions, but I've started embracing simple things like ChatGPT on a pretty much a daily basis. I mean, even to go back and forth and discuss medical conditions or situations. It's interesting. But on the learning front, it is going to be integrated and is already, like we just said, integrated into pretty much most every career field. And yes, a lot of fields will probably be impacted. And I'm not necessarily disagreeing with anything said. I'm just saying I'm still learning, and that's why I wanted to ask y'all's opinion.
We all are.
Yeah, we're all learning on it. But what
Elizabeth,
I think is,
what say you?
Well, just real quick, Foster, all I was going to say is what I think is important is that we embrace it and learn more about it, not run from it. That's all I was going to say. But Elizabeth, I would love to hear what you say.
Good. Elizabeth's dead in this stuff. What do you think, Elizabeth?
So I think it's going to change. I mean, they posted a big article a few weeks ago. It's on my LinkedIn feed if you want to get it, but it's a requirement now. A requirement if you are an accountant, a CFO. AI and automation is now a requirement in your job. Now, how you prove that and how you talk about that, I don't know. How do you prove that requirement? It's not like an educational requirement or a skill or, a hardcore skill like Java or you see what I'm saying? But it is changing. There's no doubt about it. Robotics is the biggest piece where you can see it right now. Like if you go to Boston Robotics site now.
Yes.
So think about that. If you have a robot that can go in a warehouse and all your compensation, workman's comp claims go down, your absenteeism goes down, your payroll goes down. I mean, think about a giant like Amazon.
What that's going to do.
The robotics field. Think about your tradesmen. I had a plumber out to the house yesterday to look at our sink. And the bottom line is some of those robotic things, getting in those tight spaces, getting in my attic to look at my HVAC, some of those areas robotics can literally do now. I would encourage everybody to look at Boston Robotics right now. In China, they have full blown human, it doesn't even look robotic.
Already?
And we have it here. We're very, very close.
We have it
so
here. Yeah.
When we talk about job impacts, that job's not going to change. That's going to be impacted. And when you look at why wouldn't Amazon? I mean, really, why wouldn't you? When you look at the labor cost alone, the workman's comp claims alone, the absenteeism alone, the savings there are so huge. Yeah, you're going to move warehouses and those sorts of situations into half or almost full robotics. The other place you see it right now is actually fast food, where people will go in and it's automated and you just punch a screen and the food comes out. They're starting to see that already. I can't remember if it was McDonald's or Burger King. Very recently, their whole restaurant went that way.
Hey, Elizabeth, you know what that reminds me of? You remember that food synthesizer on Star Trek?
My gosh.
The first time.
Or the Jetsons when they would hit a button.
Yeah.
But you know what? Yeah. Something companies, I would be interested to get y'all's opinion on this. Something companies need to think about, though. Okay, so you're going to save a bunch of money putting a bunch of robots in your warehouse, but who's going to be able to afford your products if people don't have jobs?
Well, okay, so now you're touching in a place where, there's a lot of hypothesis, and this is where the fear comes in.
Yeah.
Somebody like you saying that, just like that in a public forum. We don't have governance around it. We don't have society laws around this. The closest I can point you to is the United Kingdom actually has some laws around AI and what they're doing with it. Our current government has an executive order around that. So it's becoming a very important piece of our government. But now you're getting into society thing, because it's a fine line where, and I would disagree with you, they don't all lose their jobs. They have to retool and retrain. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line. You're not going to be able to live in a society and kind of sit and do nothing. You're not going to be, if you're not productive in some manner, physically.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's not going to work, because this is going to come in and make the workload less and less and less.
Yeah.
It's the first time in over 20 years of my career when I talk with people and they have kids that are going into college or leaving college. It's the first time in my career I cannot tell them what's hot and what's not. The best advice I can tell them is to go into the trades, because the trades are going to make $100,000 plus a year and not be impacted. Where if you have a data analytics degree, millions of people have them, and it may or may not be put to use, like software engineering, right?
Yeah.
Like, how many of these do we need? And at what point has machine learning and the automation taken over? You just don't need to be pumping tens of thousands of those degrees into our ecosystem. So it's the first time I can't even tell anybody succinctly, like, this is a degree that will be viable forever. This is a degree. It's really the trades where I tell people to look, because even in robotics, you cannot do the HVAC completely. You can't. If you look at Boston Scientific and their robotics, it's pretty ding dang close, but you're still going to need a physical person to drive the truck and to do certain things. But overall, the trades are going to be bulletproof, absolutely bulletproof. So what do I mean by trades? So plumbing, electricians, pouring concrete, all those kinds of trade. Think of building a building, all the skills that need to build a building. They're all going to be highly desirable. You're going to get paid six figures. It's going to be a good run. So it's all going to change, like the accountant, like the CFO, right? So the CFO is going to come in. Part of that job is going to be to automate some of the accounting processes to save time, to remove out human error that could be there. So the job will change, right? It won't go away, but the job itself will change. Just like HR and recruiting, the job may change, right? But overall, you still want a person right now making a decision on a hiring or on a legal piece of the process, or to make sure that the slate is fair and not discriminatory. It's the same with the software developer coding. It's mostly in the code now. Mostly they go in and they just run the code through there. They've got a person that checks it. But the reality is, most people that went into software development 5, 10, 20 years ago, they did not go in to be QA code reviewers.
Right.
They like to build, you know what I'm saying? So I would not be taking that degree right now.
Yeah, I heard that will be
less
one of
and
the
less.
first. That's why I brought it up. I stand corrected, and I appreciate you disagreeing. I think that's important. I'm only going by what I know and I hear.
Yeah.
But I heard, honestly, that one of the areas that's I mean, there's a lot of areas, it sounds like, but one area that we're seeing some pretty quick changes in is if AI can code faster and more accurately, yeah, like you said, that probably
It
isn't
is.
the best degree to go into right now,
It is.
right?
It is. And when you have, now we're dancing into a touchy subject, but I think it needs to be said, especially since we have University of Dallas sitting right here. When you have hundreds coming from other countries getting degrees, and now we can't do a thing with them. So they got a degree that isn't viable, and now they're sitting on an OPT. You're going back home where 5 years ago, 3 years ago, a year ago, maybe you weren't. Maybe you could scrap it out. You're going back home, and you paid 5 times as much for that education to come here to try to get a chance. So, I mean, at the end of the day, when you do get into green cards and the law, you have to prove that skill set is not available in the United States. You have to prove how many times you ran the ad, how many people you talked to. You have to really
it's a process
in order to get that okay to say, all right, we'll do sponsorship. We'll go on an H-1B. Well, you can even make up that business case because really, I could go outside and throw a stone and hit plenty of people with
and so true. Oh my God.
You're absolutely right. Oh, it's scary.
No, it's not. It's gonna, the point is, I think we all get scared and go to the bad place. The point is, it's all going to change. How this impacts society, how this impacts all the other stuff, immigration, all this stuff, we don't know just yet. But I can tell you, we are living through what, in 10 years, we'll be able to tell other people or whatever. This is our evolution. This is our growing pain. This is our birthing.
I'm going to tell you guys again, Elizabeth, I'm going to try to trump everything that's been said and all the thought processes right now. You know what God says? Fear not. So guys, we know that we're going in this direction. We know that we're already running scared. What you running scared for? You hadn't even got there yet. You don't even know what you're going to face. So guys, let's get there. And what Elizabeth's saying, it is accurate, but guys, fear not.
Yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree.
Well, it still does depend on how fast the company's budgets are allowing them to do that. Because of the bottom line, you have to invest in it.
I cannot go into specifics. They're not telling you.
Oh, there's our music. So, guys, we'll be back with Deb Johnson, and we're going to continue talking about what we recruiters are up to.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center for you, a family member, or a loved one suffering with diabetes. If you have lost your provider, or if you need a provider for diabetic supplies, you may qualify to receive your diabetic testing supplies now with little or no out-of-pocket cost, regardless of your age. All you need is Medicare or private insurance to be potentially eligible. Call the Diabetes Solution Center right now for details. Just takes a couple of minutes. Our friendly, knowledgeable agents will give you free, no-obligation information, handle all the insurance paperwork, and make sure your supplies are delivered directly to your door for free.
Call U.S. Medical Supply 24 hours a day. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. Call right now. 800-597-9323.
Let's be honest. Wheelchairs are heavy, bulky, and ugly. If you carry a wheelchair in your car to take care of a loved one, you know how hard it is getting that clunky, old-style wheelchair in and out of your car. Introducing the Feather Chair Wheelchair. At 13 pounds, it's the world's lightest wheelchair. It folds in seconds and fits neatly in your trunk, backseat, or closet, so you can take it everywhere. And it's only available right here. Order yours today and get a free wheelchair case, a $50 value, yours free. The Feather Chair. The world's lightest wheelchair is just $4.99 with easy payments as low as $60 $16 a month. Sorry, no Medicare or insurance accepted. So call right now to order yours.
800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. That's 800-823-5826.
Joco Community Radio. Listen live at tunein.com.
Welcome back to Jobfather. Jobfather Nation, we had a fabulous first half, wonderful information. We've got a jam-packed second half, but just a reminder, NTX Radio is a radio and podcast collective proudly serving all of North Texas and can be heard all over the world on the TuneIn Radio app. And you can listen to this on Android, Apple CarPlay, Apple, or just ask Alexa to play NTX Radio. Check out our lineup and more at ntxradio.com. We thank our valued partners for helping us amplify the voices of North Texas. Well, Foster, what an amazing first half. As y'all can tell, Foster brings the best of the best as far as our guests are on. And it's exciting. I stand corrected on a lot of things. I learned a lot today, and we still have more to go. So, Foster, I'm going to kick it off over to you.
I'm going to try to make you guys laugh again. We enjoyed.
Okay, it sounds like a plan.
We enjoyed our dad joke on the first half of the show. So let me throw one at you guys for the second half of the show, and then we're going to go. We're going to talk to Deb Johnson. We're going to continue because Deb Johnson is a talent acquisition executive. That's what we are these days. And she is.
We love it.
She's looking for a job, guys. And you know what? There is a good application of her skills. So we're going to be talking about Deb's skills. But before we get there, all right, y'all, what do you call a snowman with a six-pack?
Oh my gosh. Snowman with
Think about it real quick. You'll probably be able to get it. Elizabeth will probably figure it out.
Something to do with abs? Ice abs? Not close.
Okay. Are y'all ready for me to throw it out there? Sharon Newman, are you listening? I love you. Thanks for joining us, Sharon. It's an abdominal snowman.
Oh my gosh. Instead of an abominable. Oh, that is so awesome. That's my favorite character on Rudolph, the Abominable Snowman. I have t-shirts.
I appreciate you guys. You guys share so many dad jokes with me. I got to choose which one I'm going to use.
That one is one of my faves. I love it.
That's a good one. I wish
who doesn't love the Bumble?
Ever had that one. Oh my goodness. So guys, check this out.
Yeah.
We have got Deb with us, Deb Johnson, and she has been a recruiter for a number of years. I like us, and we talk about our kind of things. Those of us that have 15, 20 years plus of experience, we know a lot of people in common, which is very important because this whole show is all about networking, right, Dana? And
it sure
building those relationships. It took zero, I don't know what Debra would say, but it took zero time in my estimation for me to feel connected with Debra. We've been at it a while. She's got a wonderful personality and she's looking for a job. And I'm like, oh my God, Deb, we got to get you on the show. Because y'all know, I haven't known Deb very long. And she gets the golden seal of the job.
Yay! That's an important thing.
Thank you, guys.
And Dana was right. You don't come on this show unless you're exemplary. You really don't. And now we're not.
Foster and I have held down first and second half of the show just ourselves.
We have, and we're going to be.
And we will do that, you know.
So, Deb, tell us, okay, what do you like? You've been talent acquisition a long time. What's a good application for you? Are you open to contract roles? All of that stuff. Let's talk about Deb.
Well, you know, it's so interesting that we're talking about AI and what's happening and what companies are doing right now. And fortunately and unfortunately, I guess, I got caught up in that myself. So a couple of weeks ago, the company that I've been working at for the last 3 years had a significant reduction. And I think, some of that probably has to do with a lot of automation and what they're anticipating. But, it's been in the healthcare space. So we all know healthcare is going through incredible changes right now, right? And I've spent, the better part of the last 10 years in healthcare, whether it be on the managed care side or on the healthcare delivery side in a hospital system. So, I'm telling you that because doors close and you don't always understand why it happens.
Yeah.
But I absolutely believe to my core that if this door didn't close, I wouldn't have my receptors open to receive what I'm supposed to get.
Absolutely.
So you have it's all about that mindset, right? And just like you guys, I'm a significant connector, relationship builder, started my career in advertising right out of school. Recruitment advertising, which was the red-haired stepchild back in the day.
What school was it, Deb?
Oh my gosh. Well, you'll laugh. I was at Modesto Junior College in Northern California.
Really? Oh my gosh.
I know. And then that journey took me to Chicago, where I spent a little better over 30
you were up
years.
there for a while freezing. Oh my God.
I was, and now I'm down here in Texas, and now, we embrace those air conditioners more than anybody,
we
right?
better.
Yeah, but I tell you that because, I look at my journey, right? And I look at recruiting, whether you're the one doing the recruiting or you're the one being recruited or courted, as I like to call it.
Yeah, because that is true.
Yeah, I mean, it is a relationship, right? There's a give and a take to it. So when you think about it, it's of course, I'm open across the board. I don't know what next opportunity is going to give me that next piece that I need to make the next piece more complete. So like anything that I've done, I don't regret any job that I've held or any company that I've partnered with, because there's been an incredible lesson every time.
Agreed.
You always get that extra nugget that's going to take you to the next piece. So,
Absolutely.
Me spending the last 3 years in managed care, I'll give you an example. Maybe this will help you understand kind of how I think. So I've spent the last 3 years in executive search, right? Specifically in executive search. Across the enterprise, I'd love to say it's industry agnostic, but I know a whole lot more about healthcare and managed care than I would like to talk about in the next 10 minutes, right? But that said, when you think about what is happening in managed care today, people have been doing things the way that they've been doing it for a long time. And I think the conversation of AI is really important to think about this, because it's machine learning, it's AI, it's best practices. We hear those terms get thrown around. The consultants come in, they give us, here's what we want you to do, roll this out, right? And then HR takes it, and then the next thing you know, in the next 6 months, here comes the changes.
Yeah.
I did a search last year we were looking for, this is how you said, companies don't tell you. Unless you're at that level, you're not going to hear it. But I had to find a PhD AI machine learning executive.
That's where you're going to find it. I'm gonna interrupt right here. And that's where you're gonna find it.
Yeah.
It's those folks that are in my network. It's those folks that are my friends. It's those in lots of different companies. And so
yeah.
And
you have to, and the hard part is they may still be in academia today. And getting them over to the corporate side is not an easy task.
Yeah.
But what I did find during that search, and I was so surprised, it was one of the searches that I actually got an award for at my company because that person made such an impact, right?
Okay.
But what is so interesting to me is once we identified who the candidate was, it took, I don't know, usually searches are somewhere between 90 and 120 days if they go well, right? At least on the executive side. So slow walk them a little bit, make sure that everything feels good because you want that to stick. And when that conversation, turned around and the team got really excited about who we really wanted to have in that role, it's like I knew probably in the first 5 minutes of talking to this person, before I even got into any of the things, that gut instinct kicks in when this is who it is. Like you you have a litmus test. You have that sensor. It's like the little hairs on the back of your neck stick up. I call them the Holy Spirit bumps that tell me this is the candidate. When I start vibrating like a tuning fork, it's over. I know this is it. And I may have to have a couple of other people through the process so that, we can compare and contrast, because you have to also make that person stand out really well. And the business knew. So what was interesting is once we did that, we also needed to hire another executive who was on a similar footing, but they had to be someone who could talk to the business and interpret what the PhDs were saying. So we also hired another of equal value to be able to have those business conversations, to be able to bring back to the PhD team, here's what the business is doing, here's where we want to go, how can we get there? So it's not just oftentimes that one person that's going to make that difference. It's a couple, it's a team, and then it's a mindset from that company about, are we really going to be able to get where we want to go in the pace that we
There it
want to
is.
go, and what changes have to happen along the way?
There
Yeah.
it is.
You have to be really thoughtful and don't be closed-minded to what it is that you're thinking, because you may have a very specific scripted, this is what we want. And yeah, you have to knock on some of those pieces, to make sure that you've checked those boxes, so to speak. And I hate that term, although I'm using it, but yeah, you have to make sure those boxes are
Yeah.
checked. But it's so much more than that, because that candidate won't be sticky if everything else doesn't
That's
line up
right.
for them. And it has to be right for them now and for the future, not just for the next 90 days or 120 days. This is going to be for the long haul. So when you're talking about that kind of candidate, it's just a different level of conversations, and it takes a lot of relationship building along the way to build that trust.
Now, I want to jump in, Deborah, if I can, and I'm going to make it expeditious. But that's a big word. That's a
Let's
big word.
go.
Don't ask me how to spell it. I don't know. But you know what?
4 syllables? Come on, it's
Oh
not
my
even
God, I
noon.
know. So, guys, remember, I want you job seekers to remember that we recruiters are middlemen. We're middle ladies. I can speak for Deb, I can speak for Dana, and I can speak for Elizabeth, because my voice is too deep to be a lady. So, guys, we are not responsible. We talk to you guys. The hiring managers have told us what they're looking for. We talk to you guys. We extract that information, and then we share that information with the hiring manager. And the hiring managers, now I'm speaking to you hiring managers, y'all get it together. My job at many of these monstrosity companies that I worked for was to get in you guys' face and make sure you're getting that process moving along. When Deborah finds that PhD candidate that she's looking for, that candidate is not going to stay on the market waiting for us to hire them. Other companies are going to want to hire them as well. So, guys, we've got to move along expeditiously. There's my word again, Dana.
Yep.
And you know what?
Yeah.
That's what Deborah's conversation was reminding me of. Guys, if you guys understand what we recruiters are and what it is that we do, you can help us in this whole journey that we have of trying to get you in front of the hiring manager and make it happen. So understand what that process is, that the best that you job seekers can. And that's why Elizabeth and Deb and Dana and I are here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Foster, you just mentioned something. Think about it this way too. When, like, if I reach out, because I'm a talent curation recruiter, right? So it's not only do I do full desk, but I am a hunter.
Oh,
So when you think about me reaching out to, say, it's you, right? And I say, hey, Foster, would you be open to having a conversation with me about
uh-huh.
XYZ, right? I think I have something that might interest you. I have now just opened your filter, and now you're listening to things that are out there that you would probably be
Okay.
closed to. So don't ever think and sleep on the fact that that candidate is only talking to you. You better ask
Yeah.
them, how many other companies are you talking to? Are you further engaged in any conversations right now? And that might be true. They may not be today, but lo and behold, that door
It's
has
open.
opened, and now that door, yeah, they're now looking at, well, maybe I should compare and contrast before I go and take another
Yeah.
offer. So don't ever sleep on that thought.
We get everything through this network. Guys, when we're getting laid off anymore, and I want the United States to listen to me, whoever this is for. guys, everybody gets laid off anymore. Dana got laid off. It wasn't how long? It wasn't even a year ago. Dana was laid off, and
No,
Dana
about 2 years ago
was
almost,
it
yeah.
two? Oh my
Mhm.
God! See how
And it was
fast.
it was hard. It was like
So
4 months. I've never been
Dana, guys, we all leaders, good people, get laid off because of our corporate processes, guys. Now, of course, I'm not going to get into
Yeah.
AI, but that's going to affect that. But guys, do not think, you companies do not think that the people that have been laid off, the people that are in our network, are not the people that you need to hire. That is stupid. Let me
Yeah.
get too close to the screen. That's stupid, y'all. Come on now. So,
Say it louder for the folks in the
guys,
back.
we have some of
But
the
it's
best
true. Like,
people.
yeah.
Dana, Deb, Elizabeth, all of us. We are in this network.
I
Go,
would I
Elizabeth.
would say
Elizabeth, go,
that.
go, go, go.
I would say that's true because, a few years ago, I mean, I'm talking before a pandemic, if somebody was laid off and they're on the market 6, 9 months, a year, you're like, something's wrong with them, or terrible luck, or you took
Yeah.
6 months off. Now, especially in Dallas, I'm seeing really phenomenal candidates that are out 6 months is like the 3 months or the 2 months. I mean, there's just a lot flooding the market. I actually did a deep dive because my mind was making me crazy going, why are all these fabulous people in the market and we have 4% unemployment? Like, the number's jacked, man. I'm not buying it. I didn't buy it 2 years ago. I'm really not buying it now. Like, why are these people still looking? They shouldn't be. So to your point, there are some really high quality candidates and individuals in this network. There's nothing wrong with them.
At all.
There's not. I mean, I came out of Frisco Connect. I did 25 exploratory calls with people in that audience. We had over 100 in the audience.
Yep.
And there was a handful that was like, your skill set is obsolete. And I don't know how to tell you this. There was that conversation. But for the most part, there was I was surprised how high level and how skilled and what great companies they came out of, big companies, and, just really struggling. And so I think that whole idea with what's wrong with the candidate, I mean, I certainly don't look at that when I'm
y'all
recruiting,
forget that. That's
because
over.
we just don't know, what's going on there or why it is the way it is. We don't know.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the chat. So Jeremy, I see what you're saying. And yeah, it can be 2 weeks to 4 weeks, but it depends on the level of position, right? And how much money that person is making.
Can be.
When you're talking about executive roles, that is where companies are making huge cuts right now because they're trying to have people do more with less. And if your organization is told you have to reduce by, I don't know, $200 million, that's a lot of salaries that you have to cut. And it doesn't have to do necessarily with productivity. It's like in my case, like I told you, I'm a curation specialist. If my company's not going to be really looking on the outside much, they're not going to need somebody who's looking outside. So that's why, unfortunately, I had to go. But that's just my time, and I'm grateful for every minute that I spent there. I don't regret a day. But at the same time, Mez, I see that you said, what companies am I looking for? To me, culture is incredibly important.
Yeah.
Like I need to know that I'm valued because at my level of experience, I'm not a robot. If you want the process to take care of itself, go ahead and do that, but you have to have somebody handle that
That's right.
process and curate that and run that
And stakeholder
search.
management
AI
is
is not
not
going to be able to do that.
replaceable. Stakeholder management's an art.
It's still a
No,
relationship
and
business,
definitely,
right? I mean, at the end of the day, people hire people. I don't care
There you
what
go.
you throw in there in the ATS. At the end of the
No.
day, people hire people. We have laws, and people check to make sure the laws are followed. So, I mean, the hiring, might change a little bit, but ultimately, people hire people.
That's
And you're
right.
absolutely right. And you think about all the ATSs that we have. We talk about Workday, right? Because that's what I used last too. Oh my God. The word work needs to be in capital because you do so much work to get through that system. You have hundreds of people apply to a job over a weekend, and most of them aren't qualified. And it is
Yeah,
so
most of
frustrating
them
for
are not.
recruiters.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're finding that too.
Good
So you
point,
have to
Deb.
buy the
Good
additional layers of other software and other things, and it's all about money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you
that's
ever
the
want to figure out
problem.
where it's going, follow the money, and that
All of the
trail will
money.
take
Oh
you
my
right back to
God.
the answer.
Yeah, Deb,
Mhm.
I'm glad you said that because we are now. I try to keep everything simple. I'm from very simple USA. So here's the deal. As long as a person makes the decision after all the technology, all the tools that we use to get to find it, foster, we want to hire foster, a person has to make that decision. If that boils down to a person, then I want to find a way to connect, because we do not hire people that we don't connect with. Guys, I'm not going to bring you on my team if you got a PhD, you got all this stuff, but I can't get along with you, and I'm scared
Right.
if I bring you on my team, you're going to upset the apple cart. Come on, son.
It's true.
Right. Well, and I see Jim saying lots of work on the applicant side. You can't
Yeah.
expect candidates to be as good at finding you and your company as you are at finding them. It is such a challenge to find the right type of role. I mean, I'll just example. I looked at LinkedIn and I'm typing in some keywords and seeing what I can find, and it is insanity about not finding the right thing, because if you one letter
Yeah.
off and you're going to
Oh,
get a completely
so
different search result from
frustrating.
somebody
Yeah.
else. So I'm grateful for all of my friends who are out there sending things and sharing things, and my, all of my corporate folks that I've been talking to for a long time, my, people who I've supported, and so many of the candidates that I've reached out to. I encourage any of you, throw something on my LinkedIn page. I'd love to hear from you. If you had a great experience with me, tell me, because it doesn't help me if you keep that a secret,
Exactly.
right? Especially that's really, and that's the
Yeah.
hard part too, because they don't always want people to know that they're talking to a recruiter, right?
Yeah.
Well, and Debra, I
So,
mean, I'm just honestly, I can tell, one of the things that a company gets when they hire you is not only, an extensive knowledge base and experience base, but it's the stakeholder management piece that we were talking about earlier. And you can't always teach healthy stakeholder
sure.
management. You can, but not always. That you either to a certain extent have it or you don't, and then you hone it, right? So any company that hires you is going to get a different level of stakeholder management than, honestly, a lot of the recruiters I see out there. I'll be honest with you. Like, I know a lot of great recruiters,
thanks.
but their stakeholder management is lacking. And if it's lacking, people don't want to work with you. People work with people they like, whether it's on the candidate side or the company side, right?
That's
so
right.
I really encourage you, if we don't already have your LinkedIn, your phone number, your email address, we need to get that in the chat. Mez is amazing and can post that for us.
Deb, that's a good point.
Yeah.
How do we contact you?
Yeah, how do we?
So the best way to get a hold of me, you can use my my email address is 1320.redd@gmail.com. My number is 773-412-2660. You see that shout out back to
And
the
it sounds
shy,
like
right?
you're open to anything, right? Like, whether it be full-time, contract, and are there certain industries that you prefer? Because I know sometimes with recruitment, in my opinion, if you're a strong recruiter, it doesn't matter the industry, you know how to go in and figure it out. Not all companies see it that way, but share a little bit about that just as we're starting to wrap up, to make sure individuals understand, hey, this might be Debra's wheelhouse, but you can do all this too.
Debra,
and I think
I've got a question.
Oh, yeah, please.
I am a drag racer. So when I saw 1320, I'm like,
yes, sir.
I gotta no, Deb, tell me no. We gotta talk.
That's where it comes from. That's the quarter mile, honey.
Girl,
I've had a Dodge Challenger for the longest time.
No, I'm a CUDA guy. I raced a 70 440 6-pack CUDA
Impressive.
for the longest.
Debra's cool.
And I know they're running 1,000 feet now, but 1320 is where it's at, y'all.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'll see you at the track. All right, you got to do something to burn. We got to blow that steam off. You know what I'm saying?
No
There's a
wonder me and
lot.
you get along. Oh my God, we got to talk. I'm sorry, y'all.
My dad was an auto mechanic, so I was raised under the hood of a car.
See now, guys, what you see happening now is, I don't have to explain it to you, but when you find a way to connect, build that relation. Now, here's where Dana and I get involved. When I say that relationship word, you're getting up close to what's happening. You get up close to that screen. Now, Deb and I got something to talk about. We've already built somewhat of a relationship.
I had
She
no
probably thinks I'm
idea.
crazy,
That's
and she's
amazing.
she's actually right. I am creepy and
Yeah.
crazy, but we've got a point of connection, guys. It's important when you're looking at these LinkedIn profiles. Look and see what these people are posting about. Some of the leaders in your industry, which I am one of them and have been for, I'm not going to tell you how many years.
100
Find out.
years before dinosaurs roamed the earth. This guy has seen every revolution. He is older than dirt. He's the dude.
Oh, that's funny.
He's seen it, done it all. Okay, sorry, Foster, go ahead.
Those dinosaurs are there for us, though, because
I'm Mesozoic era.
You can't ride the track without it. I'm just saying.
That's right. And and Debra and I
funny.
have a lot to talk about, and we will build a deeper relationship. We'll share more information, all that kind of stuff. But guys, do that. That's what this network is all about. I have met some of my best friends on this networking thing that I call networking. I have been a very pompous, high-level talent acquisition director, guys. I don't say that often because I'm a person just like everybody else. I have been pretty high up on that scale. There are some huge companies that I've worked for. My background looks all wonderful, but you know what? If you don't get along with Foster, it ain't gonna work in your company.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
So I want you guys to hire Debra Johnson, especially if you're in the healthcare arena. Then we got something to talk about, and that's why I brought Debra on here today, so you guys can see her and hear her. Go, Debra.
Thanks,
Debra.
Yeah, no,
Live long
it's
and
been
prosper.
great.
We're getting close.
Honestly,
to time.
this has been one of my favorite shows in a long time. So much valuable
This is a good
information
show.
and
Yes.
just incredible individuals on the show. We're blessed to have both of you, and we thank you both for coming on the show. Like we say, Foster heavily vets, but we're here. It sounds like we're time to wrap.
Sounds like next Friday time.
Thank you, ladies. Have a great weekend.
To Venus and Grandview to Godly, this is the voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
If you're trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone,